Well, hello again. Welcome to our reading of Herodotos, and I'm reading Book 1. I'm up to Chapter 10. This is the story of Kandaules and Gyges. And you'll recall that Kandaules has pretty well put pressure and insisted that Gyges come and see his wife naked because he claims she is the most beautiful of all women. Homen de hos uk edunato diaphugain ein hetoimos. But he, this is Gyges, when he was not able diaphugain, well, to escape, to get out of it, ein hetoimos, literally he was ready. So, in other words, he prepared himself for the task. Perhaps almost he gave in. Hode Kandaules epe edokie horetes koites enai egege ton gugia est to oikema kai metatauta autika parain kai hegune. And Kandaules, when it seemed good, or when it seemed, I should say, enai to be the horror. Now it's nominative up because there we've got the verb to be here. So when it seemed to be the hora, the hour for bed, agage ton gigia ace ton oikema, he led from ago Gyges into the chamber, into the bed chamber. Kai metatauta autica, and after the forthwith, immediately after these things, the wife also, Parain, was present. Es el thusan de kai tithesan tahaimata etheeto hoguges. Now this is from this Theaamai. So Gyges was looking at her, she having entered in. This is from S plus the el thusan, it's a feminine participle. And tithesa, this is a present participle from tithemi, feminine participle, and, well, literally placing her haimata, her clothes. So, laying down her clothes. So, Gyges was looking at her, she having coming in, and as she was laying out her clothes. Hos de katanotu egenito iuses tes gunaikos es tan koiten, hup ekdus ekoria exo. And when, or perhaps since for the hos here, since he was katanotu at her back, since he was at the back of the woman as she was going into the bed, another feminine participle here, from Amy Ibo, the root is I, so as she was going into the koitain, into the bed, hup ektus, this is a combination of hupo plus ek plus the verb duno, this is a participle. It's something like our slipping out. And the hupo has that sense of without being noticed secretly. So secretly having slipped out, ekoria, he went or departed, exo, outside. Kai hegune ep hora min exi onta. Now the verb here, it's another example of the lack of aspiration. So the verb is horao, and then with epi, contracted, you would normally get F hora in Attic, but you get this so-called psilosis here, the lack of aspirate. So this is just from epi plus horao. So, but the woman spied, we'd say, him going out. She saw him as he was going out, present participle. So spied is probably a good word here. The woman spied him going out. Mathusa de topoiethen ectuandros uti anebosi, iskun thesa uti edoxi mathane, in nooe kusa tesasthai ton Kandaulia. And manthano is to learn, but it can also mean to realise. So, which is often a good translation of this. So she, having realised that, to poiathen, this is a neuter passive participle with to, that which had been done, and then we get was as a result of her husband, was from her husband. So realising that what had happened had been arranged by her husband, had been done by her husband, we get ute, neither iskun from iskuno, this again is the participle, she having been put to shame, did she, from anabo-ao, neither did she cry out, uti, nor edoximathane. This is a slightly odd idiom here. It's something like, did she appear to understand or to realise? So she didn't give the appearance of knowing what had happened, is the sense of it here. So when she realised that what had been done was by her husband, although being shamed, she did not cry out, nor did she let on that she knew, we'd say in English. Having in her head, in her mind, te sasthai is from tino, to punish, to get revenge for, having in mind to get revenge on Kandaules. Paraga toisi ludoisi skedon de kai para toisi aloisi barbaroisi kai andra ophthenai gumnon es iskunain megalein fere. The interesting little side comment, we get lots and lots of these in Herodotos, pointing out differences in culture. The Greeks, although Greek women never appeared naked, except of course in statues, nakedness amongst men was quite common. But he says here, for, beside the Lydians, so that means among the Lydians, skedon is something like almost here, and almost beside all the other barbarians. So among the Lydians and almost among all the other barbarians, fere is impersonal here. I think it carries it leads to great shame, great embarrassment, even for a man ophthenai to be seen, aorist passive infinitive, gumnon, naked. So among the Lydians and among almost all the other barbarians, it is shameful. Literally, it carries into much shame, even for a man to be seen naked. Now we continue on to section 11. Toddy men de hutos uden de losa sahe sukian ake. Now we get a men, and there's the det down here. So at that time, now de lo sasa, literally making clear nothing. So at that time, in this way, revealing nothing, hezukian ake, literally she kept her silence. She maintained her silence. She didn't reveal or make plain anything that was going on. She acted as though nothing had happened, we might say. Hos de hemera takista gegone ton oikation tus malista hora pistus iontas hi ute hetoimus poiesamene ekale ton gigia. But when, now the hos plus takista normally means as quickly as possible, but here I think it means as soon as. So as soon as day had arrived, This is a pluperfect, in fact, from ginomai. It's gignamai in Attic, and it's ginomai and ginosko in the Ionic dialect, which continues on into the New Testament, of course. So when a day had arrived, now we get a partitive genitive, of her servants, those whom, you often get the article for the relative pronoun. Now the main verb here is hora. We've seen that before. I think it's from horao, and although this doesn't look with the ending, you get a contraction. So it's hora-e, and you get a contraction to alpha. So this, in fact, is a third person singular. So among her house servants, those whom she looked upon as being especially malista pistus faithful. This is the Ionic form for the reflexive heaute, so to herself. So among the house servants, those whom she looked upon as being especially faithful to her, hetoimus poiesamene, having made them ready. So this must mean something like, it's fairly obscure, it's having perhaps told them what she planned to do, having made them ready, having made them prepared, ekalier, she called upon Gyges. Hodeudon dokion autain ton prakthenton epistas thy aelth their kaliumenos. Now, but he, this is Gyges. Now we've got a participle here. He thinking her, epistasthai, to know, from epistemi. So he thinking that she knew, uden nothing, tone prakthenton, aorist passive participle, nothing of the things that had been done. He came, kaliumenos, being invited, being called. Eothiae gar kai proste hokos he basileia kaleoi foitan. Now the verb here is, this is a slightly irregular form from etho. It is quite irregular here, the form. It's an imperfect from etho. Etho is to be accustomed to. We get our word ethics connected with this. So he was accustomed also pros there beforehand. Hokos for hoppos, probably for hopote. So whenever he was accustomed even before. Foitan is from foitao, this is the infinitive, to attend on her, so to come to her. So he was accustomed even beforehand to attend upon her, hokos for hopoti, whenever the queen, kalioi, optative from kalio, might summon him, or might call, literally. Hoste hoguges apiketo elege hegune tadi. And when Gyges arrived, again we get that deaspiration here, it would be affikato in Attic, the woman elege began to say the following things. Nun toi duon hodon pari usion guge didamai hyrasin hokoterein bule trapestai. This is a funny little line here. We get a genitive absolute. So she says, the toy is for soy, for you. It's sort of thing you see commonly in Homer. So toy for soy, I think, here. So now, there two paths are present for you. You've got two possibilities, Gyges, two paths. Didamai hyresin, I give you a choice. Hokoterein for hopoterein, Buliae prepesthai, I give you a choice as to which one, it's feminine, agreeing with hodos, which is feminine, as to which path, which of the two paths, Buliae, this is second person from Bulamai, along which one of the two you wish trapesthai to turn down. So it's a metaphor for being at the crossroads here. You're going to turn down one of these two paths. Agar, so here are the two options. Agar Kandaulia apoktenas eme tekai ten basilian liain ekitain lidon, auton se autica huto apothne skein day. Hos an me panta pethomenos Kandaule tu loipu, ides tame sede. So for either, having killed, from apokteno, Kandaules, eke is an imperative. So take me and the kingdom, this is Basileia in Attic, take me and the kingdom, the one of the Lydians. That's one option. Or you yourself, auton se autica, forthwith, or day, it is necessary for you yourself immediately thus to die. Hosan, lest this is a little bit difficult, having so lest tu loipu is genitive here of time, so it means in the future. So lest in the future you might see the things which it is not necessary for you to see, so you ought not to see, being persuaded by Kandaules. So perhaps it may be in the middle here, being obedient to Kandaules, and the panta must go with the ta here, I think. That's rather awkward because it's separated by quite a way. So lest, being persuaded by Kandaules in the future, it could be in respect of each matter, in respect of all things, you might see that which you ought not to. So slightly difficult. Yeah, I think the panta probably is just adverbial here. It's not going with the ta. It's in all respects, in other respects. So lest being obedient to Kandaules in other ways, in future you might see that which you ought not to. Al etoi kenon ge ton tauta buliusanta de apollustai eseton eme gumnen the examenon kai poiesanta u nobidzomena. But now we get atoi is just a strengthened form of a. We get two of these, so it's either in fact it is necessary for that man, the one having plotted such these things, indeed, to perish. So for it is indeed necessary for that man who had planned all these things to perish, or for you, understand to perish, the one having seen me naked, there's a theaomai again, and the one having done ou non isomena, things which are not customary. This is that nomos root of custom here. Nemo can have as a range of meanings, and one of which is custom. You get the word nomos, law, but law of course arises from that which is customary, and that's what the verb here is doing. So having done things which were not according to our customs. Hodeguges tios men apethomasdi ta legomina, meta de hiketue me min anankaie, and deon diacrinai toi autan hyrasen. Now, needless to say, poor Gyges is somewhat taken aback at this point. So Gyges, teos for a while, can sometimes mean meanwhile, or but just for a while. This is from Apothalmasdo. He was amazed, perhaps almost terrified, at the things being spoken. Now the meta is adverbial here, so but afterwards. Hikatuo is to supplicate, so he supplicated that, so he begged her, lest, or perhaps not, endeo is to bind. So afterwards, he begged her not to bind him, anankaie by necessity, so i.e. the whole thing means compel. So he begged her not to compel him, diacrinai, to decide, toiautan hyrasen, such a choice. So slightly difficult there. So afterwards he begged her not to bind him by necessity, literally, to decide or to make such a choice. We get our word heresy, of course, from this word. It's connected with hiereo in the middle, means to choose, and so the abstract noun hieresis, third declension feminine, is a choice, not to make such a choice. Uk own de epatha. He wasn't then, in fact, persuading her. Ala hora anankaien alethios prokaimenon aminein eton despotia apollunai e auton hup alone apollustai. But, now this is this hora again from hora, it's the third person singular. He saw that, he saw necessity truly lying in front of him. So he saw that he had not much choice, that he was going to be compelled. So he saw necessity lying in front of him, truly. Aletheos, I think it's an adverb here. Either, we get AA, so either he had to kill his master, or he himself to perish at the hands of others. Notice the active from apollumi, and there's the passive. So either he had to destroy his master, or he himself would be destroyed by others. He himself to be destroyed by others. Hyriete autos parienai. Not surprisingly, he chose himself, so he himself chose. Hyrio in the middle, hyrio is to take, in the middle is to take for oneself, hence to choose. So he himself chose perienai, to survive, literally to be around, but periemi means to survive. Eperota de legon tardi, epe me anankasdes despotaton emon ktenein uk ethelonta, Fere accuso, tio kai tropo, epi core somen auto. And speaking there indeed, he began to ask the following things. Since, O mistress, since you compel me, katano is to kill. You normally in Attic, except in poetry, you only get this in compound, except in poetry. But here we're just getting the bare verb katano, to kill. So since you compel me to kill my master from despotes. This is the first declension, it's not contracted here. Since you could compel me to kill my master, uk ethelonta, accusative agreeing with me who am not willing, so against my will. Fere, come, I will hear. This is that common use of fere, just in the sense of come. So I will listen. In what sort of manner shall we attack him? Epikairio is to place your hand against somebody, and hence to attack. So in what way shall we move against him? Might be another translation of it. Heider hupalabuse efe. And she, hupalambono I think is just answering, she said, and I think that's right, this might be taking him aside, I'm not sure on that one. So she, hupalabusa, either having taken him aside or perhaps just answering, she said, Ek tu autu men kariu he home estai hothen per kai kanos eme epidexata gumnain. Hup no meno de he epikairis estai. So she, we've done that, but so she having taken him aside, or perhaps just replying, she said, the home is the attack. It's from hormao, to rush forward. So the onslaught perhaps will be from that very same place, from whence, and the pair is emphatic, from whence also he, that man, epidexatot, showed me naked, revealed me naked. So the very place where he revealed me as naked. This is from epideknumi. Be careful, it looks like it's epidecami, but it's actually epideknumi, to reveal. So from the very place where that man showed me off naked, now we get a de here, and the attack, this is the abstract noun, we had the verb, epikairio, this is the epikairesis, so the attack will be upon him as he's sleeping. So she's going to murder him, having murdered in his sleep. And that's the end of section 11.